When he heard that the Blood God clan could fulfill one of his requests, Xiao actually proposed to become the clan leader of the Blood God clan. Truly impressive. What a bold act. What an audacious performance indeed. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Picking up where we left off. 2 flames, ranked within the top 300 of the 100 million flame rankings. The word struck Xiao like a thunderclap. His eyes widened, disbelief rippling across his face as he drew a sharp breath. Even with all he had experienced, countless battles, ancient inheritances, and brushes with forces beyond his original plane, this revelation still exceeded his expectations. So this is the true depth of the Luo God clan, he murmured. To possess even a single flame ranked among the top 300 was already enough to shake an entire realm. Many supreme factions would exhaust generations of effort, sacrifice oceans of resources, and still fail to obtain such a treasure. Yet the Luo God clan not only possessed them, they possessed many. Even the void-swallowing flame. Xiao continued, his gaze filled with awe, a flame that failed to breach the top 300. And yet your clan still commands more than a dozen flames that did. Each word carried the weight of respect. Only now did Xiao truly understand what it meant to be one of the ancient god clans of the Great Thousand World. Their foundations were not merely deep. They were unfathomable, accumulated through countless eras of bloodfire and survival. Luo Tienshen chuckled softly, neither confirming nor denying the statement. His eyes, calm yet vast, like an endless starfield, turned toward the distant mountain range shrouded in drifting clouds. "Little friend Xiao," he said gently, raising his hand and pointing forward. "Let us go." The moment his voice faded, space itself seemed to tremble. Luo Tienshen's figure blurred, transforming into a streak of divine light that shot toward the mountains ahead, as though the heavens themselves were opening a path for him. Xiao's heart stirred. He clasped his fists together and bowed deeply, his posture straight and solemn. "Many thanks, Senior Luo Tienshen," he said with sincerity. "Today's guidance and protection will not be forgotten. Should fate allow it, Xiao shall surely repay the Luo God clan in the future." With those words, his Du Qi surged forth like a roaring flame. His figure lifted into the air, chasing after Luo Tienshen without hesitation. The two figures soon vanished beyond the horizon, swallowed by the vastness of the mountain range. At the highest peak, where clouds curled endlessly around ancient stone and divine runes faintly shimmered in the air, Luo Tienshen remained behind. His gaze lingered on Xiao's departing silhouette until it completely disappeared. A faint smile appeared on his lips, subtle, restrained, and tinged with something unreadable. He did not take Xiao's promise too seriously. Each year, countless geniuses shattered the shackles of their native planes and stepped into the Great Thousand World. Every one of them carried ambition, talent, and an unyielding will. Among them, Xiao was indeed exceptional, rare even, but not unique. The Great Thousand World had never lacked monsters. Those who truly stood at the pinnacle were forged not merely by talent, but by time, cruelty, and endless slaughter. Luo Tienshen slowly withdrew his gaze, the smile fading as his expression grew solemn. The winds atop the peak intensified, carrying with them an undercurrent of unrest. At this very moment, the Luo God clan stood at the heart of a gathering storm. The other 3 great god clans had begun to move in unison, their intentions sharp and unmistakable. Ancient grudges resurfaced, alliances shifted, and the balance that had endured for countless years was beginning to fracture. A storm was coming, and when it arrived, even a god clan would bleed. Whether Xiao would one day become an ally, a bystander, or simply another fleeting name swallowed by history, only time would tell. But one thing was certain. The Great Thousand World had already begun to remember his presence. Though Xiao's future was filled with limitless possibilities, the reality of the present could not be ignored. With his current cultivation and standing the assistance he could offer, the Luo God clan was at best marginal. As the clan leader, someone who had weathered countless storms and witnessed the rise and fall of innumerable geniuses, Luo Tienshen would naturally never place all his hopes upon a single young cultivator. No matter how promising he appeared, talent alone was never enough. What Luo Tienshen never anticipated was that this young man whom he appreciated, guided, and even favored, yet never truly regarded as a decisive pillar, would decades later rise like an unstoppable tempest. A tempest that would overturn the heavens and seas, a name that would resound throughout the great thousand world, shaking even the ancient god clans to their core. But all of that lay far in the future. At present, Xiaoyan was still walking his own solitary path. About a week later, at the southeastern boundary of the Luo god Great Domain, the sky suddenly rippled. A figure clad in black robes tore through the clouds like a streak of falling starlight, his aura restrained yet sharp, faint fluctuations of flame and spiritual energy trailing behind him as space distorted in his wake. It was Xiaoyan. Ever since exchanging a high-grade mysterious pill for the heavenly god instrument within the Luo god clan, he had not lingered for even a moment. Once the transaction was complete, he departed immediately, unwilling to waste precious time. The great thousand world was far too vast. A single delay could mean missing someone forever. After flying without rest for an entire week, Xiaoyan finally arrived at the very edge of the Luo god Great Domain. As he hovered in mid-air, his gaze swept across the boundless expanse behind him, and even he could not help but feel a trace of awe. So this is only one great domain. Endless mountains stretched like sleeping dragons, rivers shimmered like silver threads, and cities dotted the land like scattered stars. Even after a week of non-stop travel, he had merely crossed a portion of it. The immensity of the great thousand world pressed heavily upon him at that moment. However, despite possessing the heavenly god instrument, an artifact capable of transcending domains and sensing distant, Aura's Xiaoyan did not activate it immediately. He stood silently in the sky, his eyes narrowing slightly. His intuition, honed through countless life and death struggles, warned him otherwise. Gu Xun Medusa, Kai Lin. They would not have descended into the great thousand world so close to him. The laws governing the descent between planes were chaotic and merciless. Even if they had arrived safely, the odds of them appearing within the same great domain were vanishingly small. If he wished to find them, his path lay beyond the Luo god Great Domain. Xiaoyan slowly clenched his fist, feeling the dense and surging spiritual power coursing through his meridians like a roaring tide. "My strength," he murmured. Carefully sensing his internal state, his brows furrowed slightly. 6th grade supreme. Peak stage. His foundation was solid to the extreme, his aura stable and refined. Yet no matter how he circulated his cultivation method, that final barrier refused to break. A bottleneck. A silent, immovable wall. In the great thousand world, this level of strength was no longer enough. Not enough to search freely across domains. Not enough to protect those he cared about. And certainly not enough to face the unknown dangers awaiting Gu Shuna and Kai Lin. Xiaoyan exhaled slowly, suppressing the faint restlessness rising within his heart. Rushing would only invite disaster. His gaze lifted, piercing through the distant horizon, where the Luo god Great Domain ended and unfamiliar lands began. The winds howled softly, carrying with them traces of unfamiliar laws and unknown destinies. With a calm yet resolute expression, Xiaoyan stepped forward through the void. His journey had only just begun. Ahead of him stretched a seemingly endless mountain forest. Ancient peaks rose and fell, like petrified waves, their jagged silhouettes cutting into the heavens. Thick layers of mist drifted between towering trees that had clearly stood for tens of thousands of years, their roots twisting like coiled dragons around shattered stone. Even the air itself felt heavy, saturated with wild spiritual energy that pulsed chaotically, as though the land had never been fully tamed. Xiaoyan slowed to a halt, hovering silently above the forest. "This place will do." His voice was calm yet decisive. "I'll use it for closed-door cultivation for a while, and refine these flames along the way." As the words faded, Xiaoyan slowly raised his palm. A ripple of heat spread outward. 4 tiny flames emerged one after another, floating quietly above his hand like obedient spirits. Though small in size, each flame radiated a terrifying aura, ancient, tyrannical, and filled with destructive potential. The surrounding air instantly warped, unable to withstand their presence. Among them, 2 flames were already familiar to him. One was the 6 profound heavenly flame bestowed upon him by Liu Beidao. Its color shifted constantly between deep azure and pale gold, exuding a refined yet terrifying pressure, as though it embodied the essence of heaven itself. The other was the blood lotus red cloud flame obtained from Guluo Mountain. Crimson petals of fire bloomed and withered endlessly within it, releasing an aura thick with slaughter and bloodshed. The remaining 2 flames were treasures Xiaoyan had personally selected from the Luo God clan's vault. Each was rare beyond measure. Each carried a lineage stretching back to ancient eras. All 4 flames were ranked within the top 200 of the 100 million flame rankings. Among them, the most fearsome was a flame shrouded in darkness, faint traces of black lightning flickering within its core. The Black Dragon Heavenly Flame, ranked 109th on the flame rankings. It pulsed like the heart of a slumbering beast, exuding a savage and domineering presence. Even Xiaoyan could feel a faint sense of pressure radiating from it, a testament to its terrifying power. Xiaoyan's eyes burned with determination. Perfect. Taking advantage of this period of isolation, he intended to completely refine all 4 flames, not merely suppress them, but truly fuse them into his own power. If he succeeded, breaking through the bottleneck of 6th grade Supreme would no longer be a distant dream. With a burst of speed, Xiaoyan transformed into a streak of black light and plunged deep into the mountain forest below. The forest swallowed him whole. Not long after, Xiaoyan slowed once more. His gaze sharpened as it locked onto a massive ravine in the distance. It was clearly not formed by natural erosion. The land had been ripped apart. The ravine stretched endlessly, its width spanning thousands of meters, while its depth descended tens of thousands more. Jagged stone walls bore traces of violent energy residual laws that still lingered faintly in the air. This was the aftermath of a clash between terrifyingly powerful experts. Darkness filled the depths of the ravine so thick that even spiritual perception struggled to penetrate it. An eerie stillness hung there, broken only by the distant echo of falling stones. A perfect hiding place. Xiaoyan nodded slightly. Without hesitation, he increased his speed, diving straight toward the ravine like a meteor. However, just as he was about to enter, his figure froze abruptly in mid-air. The surrounding air seemed to drop several degrees in an instant. Xiaoyan slowly lifted his head, his expression turning cold as ice. His eyes, once calm, now gleamed with razor-sharp, killing intent. Someone was watching him. Not far, and not weak. "Come out!" His voice echoed through the mountains, low and frigid, carrying an unquestionable authority. The forest fell deathly silent. For a brief moment, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then, "Ha! Ha!" A hoarse chuckle drifted out from the shadows, warped and unsettling, as though it scraped directly against the soul, worthy of someone who defeated Huang Yunpo. The voice paused, tinged with amusement. Interesting. As the final word echoed, the darkness within the ravine began to ripple. A presence slowly emerged, sinister, oppressive, and unmistakably hostile. A contemptuous chuckle echoed through the heavens, cold and sharp, like a blade scraping against stone. Xiaoyan slowly turned around. The moment he did, the space behind him twisted violently, folding in on itself like distorted water. One ripple followed another, and from those spatial distortions, figures stepped out one by one, their auras deliberately unrestrained. At the forefront stood a man dressed entirely in black robes. His features were sharp and pale, his eyes narrow and faintly crimson, radiating an unmistakable air of arrogance and bloodlust. A faint scent of iron seemed to linger around him, as though he had just stepped out of a slaughterhouse. Behind him stood 3 elderly men clad in blood-red robes. Their hair was white, yet their faces were ruddy and full of vitality, eyes glowing with a sinister light. Dense blood-colored spiritual power rolled around their bodies like living mist, occasionally condensing into vague, writhing shapes. Each of them was a true powerhouse. Before Xiaoyan could finish assessing them, the surrounding space rippled again. 1, 2, 3. Nearly 10 additional black-robed figures emerged in succession, forming a loose encirclement in the sky. Their auras intertwined, faintly resonating with one another, sealing off the surrounding space. Escape routes. Gone. The air grew thick and oppressive, as though invisible chains were tightening around Xiaoyan. The man in black at the front swept his gaze over Xiaoyan's lips, curling into a mocking smile. "So this is him," he said lazily. "The one who defeated Huang Yunpo." His eyes gleamed with naked disdain. "You look underwhelming." Xiaoyan stood calmly in mid-air, his expression unreadable. His gaze swept across the group, memorizing their positions, their breathing, the subtle fluctuations in their spiritual power. Blood-red robes, black robes, a familiar pattern. His heart sank slightly. At the same moment, far away, deep within the Luo god continent, a series of piercing, whistling sounds suddenly tore through the skies. They were sharp, urgent, and filled with alarm. Several members of the Luo god clan stationed outside a lush, verdant mountain range looked up in confusion, barely catching sight of several figures racing past them like streaks of light. Those figures did not slow down. They plunged straight into the depths of the mountain range, ignoring all protocols. Within the mountains, in a secluded valley bathed in soft blue light, an elderly man dressed in simple grey cloth stood beside a stone table. Upon the table lay a radiant blue spiritual herb, its leaves translucent like crystal, emitting gentle pulses of spiritual energy. The old man was carefully examining it, his expression calm and focused. Suddenly, his brows furrowed. He slowly lifted his head and looked toward the distant sky. 3 figures were rapidly approaching, their auras chaotic and unstable, clearly revealing their urgency. Before they even arrived, unease had already crept into the old man's heart. When the 3 men finally descended, their faces were pale, their breathing uneven. Seeing their expressions, the old man's calm demeanor vanished. His eyes narrowed and a faint pressure spread outward. This man was none other than Luo Tienshen. Before the 3 could even speak, his figure blurred. In the next instant, the space before them distorted silently, and Luo Tienshen appeared out of nowhere, standing directly in their path. What happened? His voice was steady, but those who knew him well could hear the edge beneath it. The 3 men halted abruptly in mid-air. One of them swallowed hard and spoke quickly. "Old clan leader, do you still remember the lower plane breakthrough expert who visited us a week ago?" Luo Tienshen frowned. A familiar figure surfaced in his mind. Black robes, calm eyes, flames that carried terrifying potential. "What about him?" The man's voice trembled slightly as he replied, "He may have encountered great trouble." A brief pause. Then, "The Blood God clan has dispatched experts to encircle him." The air seemed to freeze. For the first time in a long while, Luo Tienshen's pupils contracted sharply. The Blood God clan, one of the 3 great god clans, notorious for their cruelty, notorious for never acting without certainty. If they had moved, then this was no coincidence. A faint killing intent surged from Luo Tienshen's body, causing the surrounding space to ripple violently. So, they noticed him already. His voice was low, dangerous. In the next instant, the sky above the mountains darkened slightly, as though something immense had awakened. "Prepare the spatial coordinates," Luo Tienshen said coldly. "If they want to touch him." A terrifying light flickered in his eyes. "Then they will have to ask whether the Luo god clan agrees." Far away above the mountain ravine, Xiaoyan stood alone, surrounded by enemies. The wind howled, bloodlust thickened the air, and a battle that would ripple across factions was about to erupt. Another man spoke, his voice low and heavy, each word falling like a hammer. "They have dispatched 1 9th grade Supreme, 3 8th grade Supreme Elders. and in addition, 9 experts whose strength exceeds 5th grade supreme. The moment those words were spoken, the atmosphere turned suffocating. Such a lineup was enough to annihilate an entire great domain. Even among the great thousand world, it represented overwhelming force. Deep within the chaotic mountain forest, beneath a sky sealed by hostile auras, Xiao stood silently, staring at the dozen or so figures surrounding him. His gaze was cold and unwavering. A thick, bloody aura radiated from each of them, sharp and oppressive, permeating the air like an invisible mist. It was almost identical to the aura he had sensed from Huang Yunpo, only purer, heavier, and far more refined. "The Blood God clan," Xiao Yan murmured. The answer was already clear. Within the Western Heaven domain, there were few forces bold enough and powerful enough to target him so directly. Among them, only one truly fit. One of the 4 great god clans. The Blood God clan. The man in black robes, standing at the front, clasped his hands behind his back. His posture relaxed, as though this were not an encirclement, but a casual meeting. "Our clan leader invites you to visit our clan," he said calmly. An elder of the Blood God clan then stepped forward, his blood-red robes fluttering gently. His eyes glinted with an odd mixture of warmth and menace. "Our clan leader greatly admires your talent," the elder continued. "If you are willing to join the Blood God clan, we can consider the matter of Huang Yunpo settled." The words were spoken lightly, as though the death of an elder were nothing more than a trivial misunderstanding. Yet instead of relief, a sharp chill crept up Xiaoyan's spine. No joy, no reassurance, only danger. So this is their move, Xiaoyan thought. The Blood God clan had lost an elder and suffered public humiliation, yet they did not immediately unleash vengeance. Instead, they extended an invitation, a poisoned olive branch. By absorbing the very person who killed their elder, they would not only erase the loss, but gain a terrifying new asset, reputation preserved, strength increased, and the humiliation quietly buried. This was not truly turning an enemy into a friend. It was something far colder, a strategy of converting an enemy into one's own weapon. Xiaoyan slowly exhaled. He finally understood why the Blood God clan had risen to become one of the 4 great god clans. This level of patience and calculation was far more frightening than blind revenge. Yet Xiaoyan's expression remained calm. His eyes, however, burned with a quiet resolve. He had not walked this far, nor crossed realms and bloodshed, just to kneel beneath another clan's banner. The mountain winds howled softly. The Blood God clan waited, and Xiaoyan's answer would decide whether this forest became a graveyard. Defeating Huang Yunpo meant only one thing. Xiaoyan was stronger. In the eyes of a calculating faction, strength outweighed loyalty, sentiment, and even pride. Huang Yunpo, no matter his status, had already proven himself inferior. Sacrificing a weaker Huang Yunpo in exchange for a far more terrifying Xiaoyan, for most rational experts, this was not humiliation. It was profit. Placed in such circumstances, the majority would choose to bow their heads, accept recruitment, and step beneath the banner of the Blood God clan. Power, resources, protection, everything would be handed to them on a silver platter. The Blood God clan's logic was flawless and merciless. "Seems your esteemed clan is truly going all out this time." Xiaoyan spoke calmly, his gaze fixed on the elder who stood at the forefront. From the oppressive pressure radiating from that man's body, Xiaoyan could clearly tell. A 9th grade supreme. A peak existence, standing only a step below the absolute apex. The elder smiled faintly, clearly satisfied with Xiaoyan's composure. "If that is still not enough," he said slowly, his tone confident, "then, by order of our clan leader, we are authorized to fulfill any one of your requests." His eyes gleamed. "As long as it is not excessive." The surrounding Blood God clan experts remained silent, yet their expressions were relaxed. In their eyes, the outcome was already decided. Xiaoyan let out a soft chuckle. "One request." He shook his head, slightly, amusement flickering across his eyes. "Your Blood God clan is quite interesting. The elder folded his hands behind his back and looked down at Xiao from above, his voice carrying faint condescension. "Speak. I believe our clan can satisfy you." Silence fell. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Then Xiao raised his head, his eyes calm, his voice steady. "I want to become the clan leader of the Blood God clan." For a split second, the world froze. The elder's smile stiffened. The faint arrogance on his face shattered like glass, replaced by shocked disbelief. And then raw fury. The surrounding Blood God clan experts stiffened, their auras instantly flaring. The ninth-grade Supreme Elder's eyes turned ice cold. "You," but before he could finish, "kill him." The command was cold, absolute, and devoid of hesitation. The moment Xiao words fell, murderous intent exploded like a blood-red tide. Spiritual power roared through the heavens, crushing downward with terrifying force as the Blood God clan experts moved in unison. Negotiations over. From that instant onward, there was only one outcome left. Either Xiao would die here, or the Blood God clan would pay in blood for underestimating him. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.